In this interview post, we're continuing having a look at the words in God, money, mind, or energy we trust. Essentially having a look at how the trinity of God, money, and mind interrelate, in that our relationship to God, money, and mind is in fact exactly the same within the context of trust and within that hope, which in a way is also quite odd, that we have a relationship of trust toward God, money, and mind, but within that trust is actually really, in fact, more of a hope. So how can it really be a genuine trust if what dominates that trust is hope? Let me explain. If we go back to the statement, in money we trust. So I'm going to have a walk through the statement within each context. In money we trust, in mind we trust, and in God we trust, to have a look at how we are existing in this relation or these relationships at the moment. And starting with in money we trust. So what we've established in the previous interview post is how we have this hope relationship to money, that money in itself will in a way magically move or flow into our worlds or our lives, and or where we're waiting for money to come, to accumulate, to enter into our lives, so that we within that can establish a life or start a life or experience a life. So there's a definitive relationship of a waiting, which would imply a hope. And how we have defined that waiting and that hope in a trust that it will come. So is it really the money that we're trusting, or is it more in our own hope that we're trusting? Because if you have a look at where this relationship in fact exists towards money, is within our minds. We in our minds trust, as in hope, that money will come, that it'll magically accumulate, that things will just happen. It's also existent in that state of mind of waiting for life to happen, waiting for things to happen. Good things will come to you type mental delusion, when how this physical existence and human civilization had come about was most certainly not by human beings sitting or standing back and saying things will just come, things will just happen, things will just appear, things will just come right, things will just work out. So within this, more say, it's quite interesting, that relationship as well, where so many of us sit back and stand back and go, things will come right, things will work out, let things go, let the universe take care of it, it's in God's hands, all those statements and sayings, while what's then taking over humanity, human civilization and life on earth is human beings that are putting themselves out there and acting, behaving, putting things into motion through their mental and physical labor. And for most part, what is currently being lived, human beings moving this very world system, this money system, is consequential. So it's that polarity between the good and the bad. It's like the good is kind of standing back in, or sitting back in that state of mind of, oh, don't worry, things will work out. It'll be okay. It's in God's hands. Let the universe bring it to you. All those type of things. It's like really in a state of delusion, while the bad or the evil within this world and this reality through humans' mental and physical labor, living and action is moving and motioning and manifesting and creating life on earth to be the way it is. So it's like if we then have a look at the relationship to the statement, in money we trust, there's that spirituality existent within it, with the factor of hope. So getting back to the initial point of that question, meaning, is it then really money that we trust, or is it our own hope in relationship to money that we trust? I would say it is that we are more trusting in our own hope, which is problematic because hope in itself is an energetic state within your mind or your consciousness. It is a feeling, it is an experience. And so therefore, when one get into understanding the mind or consciousness and how hope is generated and created, meaning what is the essence or the substance of that energy, it is quite fascinating when you look at it interdimensionally, physically. Hope energy, it actually originates from and within a fear. It's like if you ever look at accessing hope for yourself, like, I'm sure many have faced hope within their life, where you just hope, you put hope into and as something. I mean, many might be able to relate to this right now in relation to money, for example, where there is existent in your mind just this hope that your life will work out, it'll become better, that money will come somehow from somewhere. And it's interesting because if you're self-honest and you really allow yourself to experience that hope, like go into it, you can access a memory right now for yourself as well. Like, go back in your memories and see, how have you looked at your relationship to money? Have you ever gone into that hope of things working out? And you'll find that what is actually existent in that hope is fear, where if one take apart and investigate and introspect hope, we, in a sense, go into a reaction of fear, because a part of us know we're, in a sense, powerless and helpless in relation to physical reality circumstance. Like, for example, with money. I mean, it's like a part of us knows that, all right, at this very moment, my relationship to money is consequential, and in the position I am in now, mentally and physically, I do not have the power to change my environment or life and living conditions and circumstance. And it's interesting that fear we are aware of, but instead of investigating that fear, instead of facing that fear, instead of coming to terms with the reality of our situation, we instead go into a polarity opposite, which is hope. Then it's like, the fear comes in relationship to money. The reality of the situation comes in, but then we go, oh dear God, no, I don't want to see this fear. I don't want to see reality. I cannot face reality. It's too difficult. It's too overwhelming. I don't want to see it. And then we go in our minds and instead go into hope, because hope makes us feel better. And, in that hope, we create a bubble for ourselves in our mind, so that we don't have to face and really get into the detail of that fear, of the reality that we're in. It's like we don't want to admit to the fact that how we are now in our relationship to physical reality, in regards to money, we're helpless, we're powerless, we're victims. And that is essentially what then, spiritualize our relationship to money, which also kind of links into the entire existence of spirituality in itself, because everyone in spirituality is going into a positive energy, positive experiences in the mind or consciousness, which makes the individual feel better. And in that feeling better reality, the reality of life on earth, the reality of our relationship to life on earth, the world system, the money system, our positions, our life and living conditions, kind of in our minds, fade away. It's like everything in reality looks grayish, so that we don't have to see it in HD, so to speak, in what it really in fact looks like. So within this then comes the understanding of how it is that it's more the hope that we have created in our minds in relationship to money that we trust than money itself. And so therefore we're trusting that somehow our own hope is going to materialize a change in our world and our reality. And here again we get to the point of abdication of responsibility, because now we can go so far as saying, in hope we trust. So that would be actually the essence more within in God, in money and mind we trust. What links the three together is hope. Is the hope that God will come and save humanity. The hope that money itself will save our life or living conditions. The hope that our minds or our consciousness will guide us within ourselves and our lives. So you're really getting to the real point, hope. And it's interesting because if one have a look at the humans that are actively part of this world system, money system, in terms of governing and directing and controlling life on earth, do they work with hope? No. They're not existing in their minds in terms of a fear toward facing the reality of what life on earth has become. They're actually in reality. They're working with reality, with the reality of human nature, with the reality of human relationships, with the reality of human society, populations, country, government, systems, and money. And within that, they are using their direct relationship to reality to manipulate it within their own interests and greed, essentially, to profit from. So what they're doing is they're profiting from reality. I mean, they're not existing in hope for shit to just happen. They're making shit happen. So here we then really have to get to the question of what it is that us majority are doing. Why are we not seeing, realizing, understanding that in relationship to money, for example, we're victimizing ourselves. We're making ourselves more powerless and more helpless because we're not dealing with the reality of our life and living conditions. We're not willing to directly look into the mirror of what is really in fact going on. And instead, we kind of separate ourselves from that responsibility. And so the majority, we're all on our asses, sitting, going, speaking the mantra of the universe will bring. Everything will work out. It'll all be okay. Don't worry about it. You don't have to do anything. It's in God's hands. There's a reason for everything. There's a meaning behind everything. God works in mysterious ways. You can probably create like an entire manual of such mantras that are being spoken in the minds of the majority of humanity. And this then while the elite are getting their hands dirty, or in reality facing it as it is, as it exists, and profiting from it. So essentially what we have to have a look at is the following. We really have to face the reality of our lives, of our relationship to money. Really have to come to terms with, really seeing what is my relationship to money now? What is my situation? What is my life and living conditions? What do I have at hand that I can utilize to stabilize myself as effectively as possible within this lifetime on Earth? You can really do a lot for yourself and getting yourself in there, in really becoming part of essentially surviving in this world, in this reality. But in how life on Earth now is, you cannot literally afford to sit back and hope things will just work out. You have to make things work. You've got to get off your ass and get in there and sort your life out, direct your life. See what resources you have available, what's your skills, what's your abilities. Do you need to enhance any skills or any abilities to be able to get into the world system, the money system, get yourself stable financially? And within that, it's still going to be difficult facing your life in relationship to money. But as we have proposed, we have a global solution for that, which is the equal money system, which I would suggest investigating and researching and getting to know. Because, we're all in this current world system and money system, and the majority of us are in hope. And no one's waking up and realizing, listen, that hope in which you're trusting that money is just going to endow you, or God is just going to endow you with money or life, is not going to happen. It's not going to work. We've got a whole history of human civilization in relation to how consequential life on Earth has become. And there would be a direct relationship to how more and more people have been standing back and sitting back in hope, when all the while a select few is taking the reins of money, of the world, of reality, while we're all in fear, victimization, powerlessness, and helplessness and hope. So a state of hope essentially takes one into a relationship of submission, where you're giving money itself responsibility, God itself responsibility, or the mind itself responsibility. And where has that gotten any of us? Absolutely nowhere, but a more consequential life on Earth. Right, so we'll go to here for this interview and some points to consider within your process in relation to the statement "in money we trust," and just the factor of hope within it. And we'll, in the next interview, going to take on the next statement, which is "in mind we trust." What is that connection between the mind and money? And also bringing in the essence of that statement, which is "in hope we trust." Thank you very much.